So just a note before this video begins, I'm recording all of this just in one take, so there's going to be some stuttering, there's going to be some, misspeaks or whatever, so bear with me. Thanks. After 19 years, I've hit the milestone I didn't think I'd ever achieve, maxing everything on Toontown Rewritten, and by proxy, Toontown Online. It's something I've always had in mind as a cool end goal, but I never fully committed until just last year. It feels a bit weird, but it is a rewarding feeling anyway. I definitely wouldn't have gotten to this point without my friends either. They're the ones who made the grind much more worth it. They say the journey is more important than the destination after all, as cheesy as that sounds. The friends of mine who helped out know who they are. While on and even off this grind though, I always had some specific question for myself. It's a question I've had for myself for the past 2 years or so now, but I think I'm ready to talk about that question and answer now. To put it simply, have you ever stuck with something for what was essentially your entire life? Even if you were separated from it for extended periods of time, you'd eventually come back to it? I have. That thing for me is Toontown. The game that, as of writing this up, has been a thing for 19 years, and it will have been 9 years since the closure of Disney's version of the game. I got into this game back in 2003, and I wasn't even a Disney kid. My father just saw a commercial for it one day and got my sister and I to try it out. I loved the game from day one, although it's hard to pinpoint why I loved the game for my first impression. It's a mix between the colorful and unique world, the appeal of a simple game where you control what felt like your own cartoon character, and the very welcoming new player experience the game brought. Those would be the reasons why I got into it so easily as a kid, but why do I stay with the game nearly 2 decades later? I've had my fair share of breaks from the game, both with TTO and the revival Toontown Rewritten, but I always end up returning. I'd say the answer is simple. It's probably the cheesiest one. The friends and memories made along the way. Just a little bit of background for me for context, especially if you're familiar with my channel for unrelated things. I started this channel out with the primary focus on Toontown. A lot of these videos are either unlisted or private now, but maybe there will be a day where I make them public again. This channel alone contributed to a lot of friends I've made and even reconnected with the past year now. But those friendships wouldn't have happened without the game. I had some bad experiences as a kid that led to me being more introverted. It's just the usual public school scenario with being bullied over trivial things and feeling left out. I was also a pretty emotional kid who could get easily manipulated, so I would grow to distance myself from a lot of things. While today they've grown to be more minor things to me, it still shaped how I feel and act in various scenarios. Things like that will stick with you for a long time and result in negative conditioning. Despite all of that, I was always able to find comfort in Toontown, as I had friends I could have fun with and spend time with, which made my days a lot better. Not every experience I've had in this game was perfect, of course. I've met many people who came and went that weren't the greatest in the end, ranging from those who have outright manipulated me or just took advantage of my patience and or kindness. The amount of great people I've met and stuck with for over a decade at this point greatly outnumber the bad anyway. While my friends and memories are a big factor for why I love this game and continue to play it, the gameplay itself is something I've had a back and forth feeling with. Over a year ago, I was personally reflecting on what my objective opinion would be on Toontown as a game alone. I previously said that it was bad. Not that I didn't like it, but that the gameplay itself was bad. In the context of Disney's Toontown Online, it was pretty buggy overall. Lure knockback on cogs outside of street battles was, while you could learn the patterns and manipulations with it, very frustrating and felt inconsistent to get. Sound was incredibly overpowered as level sets and cog bosses were a set pattern and always consistent, making sound the only viable option until your team ran out of foghorns. The game balance as a whole was heavily skewed into the player's favor, never giving the cogs a reason to be threatening since they were so weak and you could easily hit high laff numbers quickly. It was rare to find tune-upless players, so you could tune up instantly to remove all punishment. Movement was slow, cog facilities gave very little merits without invasions, the list goes on. But despite all of that, the game was still pretty fun. Sometimes a challenge isn't needed for fun, which Toontown Online devs did what they could in regards to that, especially when looking at their design docs. The devs did have a ton of ambitious ideas, but a lot of them didn't get to see the light of day. Of course, when the game was officially announced to shut down, I was very conflicted. Losing what felt like my own secondary home was a huge deal. I was in high school when that was going on, so I had to miss the final day, even if it was basically unplayable. I made a few final screenshots of my tunes with some friends, said my goodbyes to the game, and had to accept what was going on. It wasn't easy, as I played ever since the game came out to the public. I kept my connections with most friends on Steam, Skype, until Discord came around, and whatever other forms of social media I used back then. Once Toontown Rewritten got shown off, I was pretty excited. I missed out on alpha, but I got into beta incredibly early on thanks to the beta key tasks. Ever since then, I've always kept an eye on it, and would often play. Although it was a very different time for me, where I wasn't as active with the game as I used to be, I would often have what felt like a love-hate relationship with the game going from later in the beta to full release and up until December 2021. The reasons would vary based on year. The game was too buggy, it wasn't getting any real updates, the player base can be frustrating, etc. There wasn't a single concrete reason. Despite that, in actuality, TTR made a lot of quality of life fixes. Lure knockback became consistent, you could get more gag XP, there were no painfully laggy Nutty River-like districts, and more. It fixed a lot of issues, but it seemed like it was just going to be Toontown Online before it shut down. Thankfully, it never turned out to be what I expected. The field office patch basically showed me that the developers are willing to make significant changes to the core gameplay. Gags got buffed and nerfed accordingly, some overpowered rewards got nerfed, cogs were made to be more randomized in boss fights, which can allow for more unorthodox strategies, and more. It's perhaps the biggest breath of fresh air seeing the game change like this, and it makes me confident in saying the game is genuinely good. You could suggest that I play Corporate Clash if I wanted to do something like this. And don't worry, I did. I maxed Clash not terribly long after Overclock CLO released, and while I had fun with the server and gameplay changes, it doesn't hit the same as TTR changes. But I am excited to see what Clash 1.3 has in store, though. Shortly before field offices came around as well, I was able to reconnect with a lot of familiar faces that you may or may not recognize from my recent TTR videos. It really takes me back, and we're all willing to just chill on the game and grind, or just do something else together. Maybe that's because I've been dealing with real adult life now, and this gives me a way to just not worry about anything for a bit. Either way, I'm just happy to see my enjoyment for this game resurface, as it's been a long while since I've genuinely wanted to come back to it long term. It's something I've always followed over the years, even if I didn't actively play it. I do want to address what I would be doing with this channel moving forward. I've shifted around on a lot of types of content I've produced, going from Toontown to Wizard 101, Team Fortress 2, Smash 4 and Ultimate, and Kirby. For anyone expecting more Smash content, then I'm sorry. I've been pretty burnt out on the game, and I don't have any real intent to go with going back into hard labbing or even playing. I made a YouTube post a while ago seeing if there was any interest in more Toontown videos, which I'm surprised that it had pretty positive reception. While I probably will post more things pertaining to TTR, I wouldn't expect anything consistent. I don't want to treat this YouTube channel like it's something I need to actively post on and keep it more as a fun side thing, to share moments that might be funny or insightful along with potential guides or playthroughs. I'll be posting more of whatever I please, and if it doesn't get much traction, that's fine. If you like what I put out, then that's great. Either way, I'm very surprised I've kept with this channel ever since I made it when I was about to finish elementary school. There will likely be a day where this channel is fully abandoned though, and that day will likely be when I consider myself fully finished with Toontown and many other things, assuming TTR hasn't closed down by then. But that day has yet to arrive. I know that this video is overall pretty scattered with what I'm talking about, but the main message I'm wanting to give off is that I really do enjoy this game. It's helped me when I was in a few dark places in my life, and also was where I met some friends that I've known for what feels like forever at this point. Seeing the game grow and evolve beyond its Disney iteration alongside my own growth is something I'm glad to see. I absolutely would not be the same person without Toontown, and my life would be very different. I also just wanted to give some kind of official, and hopefully final, update to those who keep up with this channel, as as it's been a very long time since I've made a video in this fashion. I don't really care about getting subs, likes, or tractions on this video, but if you want something to take away from this video, it would be this. It's fine to return to something you've stuck with for so long. If it makes you happy and can be interacted with in a responsible and healthy manner, then don't let anyone stop you. For me, that's Toontown. I'll always love this game and enjoy my time with the friends I hang out with from this game, both in and out of it. I'm glad to have officially done everything with this game, and I look forward to what's in store in the future.